Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, Only One United. I'm with Peter from the Everton Women's Supporters Club. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on that. You nearly said Liverpool then, and I was about to hang up.
I didn't, I promise. No. Everton. And that's where we're going to start, because I think a lot of our fans will love to come Everton. You were even saying it. When we come down, it's always a good game, and it's always banter back and forth.
Yeah.
What did you think of the game, I suppose, from an Everton perspective? Obviously not the result that you wanted, but I suppose I don't know what, just overall, like, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, it was disappointing results. Certainly the second half. I thought the first half we made a good account of ourselves. We created a couple of chances. But I think once the second goal went in, we were chasing the game. We made a number of substitutions, seemed to lose our shape completely. And then it just seemed to me that Manchester United just punished us every time, every single small mistake. Manchester United, they've got that quality. Well, you've got that quality in your side. You can't afford to make mistakes against Manchester United. You can't afford to switch off. Unfortunately, that's what we did, and we got punished for it. So they're the margins, aren't they? I say fine margins. It was a bit more than the fine margin the other day. It was, given the results. But I think, we're still a team in transition. We're still a team who's learning. Brian Sorensen's got a very specific way that he wants to play football. Probably you might have noticed that we didn't just start lumping it up from the back. Even when we were 2, 3, and 4 goals down, we didn't just start going long and things like that. Brian Sorensen likes us to play out from the back, and his mantra is basically we carry on playing that way. Even if we're getting beat, we carry on, and eventually we'll get so good at it that we can then take on the bigger teams. That might seem naive to some. It certainly means that he's not got much breathing space at the moment in terms of our results, because he seems to be going against us almost every week, apart from the derby, which is great. So yeah, we need to get some points on the board, and maybe he might have to start looking at different ways to play. That, if we do have to just shut up shop a little bit more, or stop playing out from the back so much, if it becomes a bit too easy to play against. But I've got every faith, long term. I think we'll get it right. I think the group of players we've got are good enough to compete in this league, and I think we'll be okay. But moving on, Manchester United, though, fantastic, great. Response to disappointments in midweek. Certainly, I was talking to you before, and I was talking to you during the game, wasn't I? The PSG game, I was texting you, wasn't I? Saying about how I thought it was disgusting that Galton's goal was disallowed. I thought that things seemed to go against Manchester United, and I was expecting United to come out flying at the weekend, and you did. So it was a great result for Manchester United and for the fans as well. And again, I've got to, hats off to the fans. Yeah. Me and you again. Mate, honestly, yeah, go on. I'll let you talk for a minute.
No. Fans are what makes football. There's nothing better than being around your mates and singing. And yeah, obviously for you guys, it didn't come off, but for us, cheering Jade on that side, and then watching a tackle and cheering her tackles, and then when Irene came on, cheering her on the pitch, and then when she did the assist and all that kind of stuff, it makes it. That's why we love Walton Hall Park, because it is that close and you can have that impact. And I'd say to everyone, if they want to get to a proper women's football game, that's what it is. I mean, I had a friend from America who came over, and she was like, wow, like this is what it is. This is how it should be. This is football,
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, we are proud of our little ground. I know that it's not everyone's cup of tea, and there's still work to be done on it. But I mean, me and you, we always talk in the build up to these games, don't we? And we have like a bit of banter back and forward and things like that. But what I loved as well at the weekend was, I sort of stand in our sort of singing section bit underneath the tin roof, and the reason why we go there is because of the echo, because obviously it's so open. It's there's literally one stand, so we sort of go to the back there. But what I loved was just the banter that we were having with United fans all the way through, and it's to and fro, and we were laughing at what they were saying, and it was just a really good sort of a good atmosphere don't get me wrong, both sets of supporters, we were giving our all to try and back our team, but we also had time to have a bit of a laugh as well. And that's one thing that is different. I think, when you compare the women's game to the men's game, that level of animosity that you get, I couldn't, me and you couldn't be, in Old Trafford having a laugh and having, and all that sort of thing. At one of the men's games, but the camaraderie that you have with the supporters, don't get me wrong, as I say, we want to see our team win as much as anyone, and so obviously so the United fans, and we're passionate and we want to back our team from the first kick till the last. But there's still time to have like a little bit of a have a few chants with a twinkle in your eye where you can have a bit of banter and a bit of back and forth. And I think sometimes United fans do get a bit of a bad rep off people. I've mentioned this before. I don't see a problem with it. I don't see a problem with turning up in numbers and backing your team. I think it's a great thing to do. I'd love to see more Evertonians coming away with us when we go to away trips. I'd love to see more of it. You don't cross the line from what I've seen. I've never, United fans have never really got, started, got going over the top or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if people can't take a bit of banter, then what are you doing going to the football? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%. I think that's an area where we definitely agree on. But I mean, people are just talking now about the game, Pete, and I'm not saying I want to divert from that, because I do totally agree with what you're saying. And I think sometimes in the women's game, people can get upset over trivial things, like you say. Of course, whenever I think, God, there was a girl and I was shouting at the ref. I was like, "Ref, that's it for us." And I think one of your players looked at me like, "God, who's she?" I think the Danish one. And
wasn't Katrine Vaya, was it? I would have ran away if it was her.
Probably, yeah. She looked at me like, "God," and someone said, "You scared that girl there, Natalie?" And I said, "Good, that's my job. My job is isn't to be nice to her or the ref or this. It's to make, be part of that 12th person who's, calling for every foul, cheering every goal, cheering every tackle, backing them to the end." And, like you said, people get upset when you're not supporting in the nature of the women's game. And, of course I want everyone to do well. Of course I want, the women's game to grow and every fan base to have it. But people say to me, "You wouldn't like it if it was just United winning every day 5-0. Of course I would. Of course I would. That was that's what the championship. That's what we're doing. We just steamroll people, and I loved it. And that's one of my favourite seasons. And it's not great spectacle, but I don't care about not in a horrible way. Obviously, I do want great spectacle, but I want my team to win, and that becomes before great spectacle, great for the neutral. I don't care. I want us to run away with it, and if we could, that's what I would pick every day.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, on the flip side of that, for us, we've got obviously we've started the season off badly. Let's be perfectly honest. Other than the result in the derby, which it kind of makes up for it a little bit, because obviously we want to beat them. I don't want Liverpool to win a throw-in when it comes to Merseyside derby. It is a big game for us. It's the first fixture you look for when the fixtures come out at the start of the season. So to go and win there was massive for us. But having said that, the results aren't going our way. But one thing we want to make sure of as fans is that we carry on backing the players. And some people might look at that and think, well, what are you doing? You're getting, like the other day, we're getting beat 5-0, we're getting over 4-0 down, and you're still singing. But the way we look at it is, well, we're not here for the short term. We're not here for a day trip. We're not here to just turn up and go home. And we're not here just for that one game. We're with these players all season. For life, not just all season. For the time they're at Everton, we're backing these players. Now, if we were to turn our backs on them just because things aren't going well, then that's not true support, in my opinion. So we almost feel that when we're losing, we have to sing louder, because we have to push them on and we have to get behind them, and we don't want to get on the backs because they know they're getting beat. They know they're not having a good game. They know it already. It doesn't help them to get on the back. So that's why that's just to explain why if United fans are wondering why we were singing so much, even at 4-5-0, that was why, because we just want to back our team, from the first to the last.
And everyone's saying it here. Everton fans are great. I enjoyed.
United fans as well.
Can't banter. What's the point? And like I just said, I mean, Man United men's team aren't really doing that great. And I was at the game till the end. And I'm not saying it was like that, but I suppose when you do have 75,000, it is harder to expose. And I suppose United men's team has been the bit, probably just to say, well, you're Everton men, so but for United, we want to win. We always want to win. And obviously, it was hard in Paris. To be honest, I think it was hard even in the first leg because I think, technically you have to win to take a win to Paris mainly. And George is saying it's for the love, not the glory. And of course, we're going to be there by their side, supporting them. And it's more important to support in tough times. But I do feel like, I'm deviating to the men's, but people like Harry Maguire getting all the stick that he's got, and he's ended up posting his song because he feels that love, and
the relief he had last night when he scored as well. You could see it etched on his face, couldn't you? And you saw the connection with the fans. I noticed that he gave a little high five to a fan as well. He was grabbing the shirt and all that, and you know that with that type of emotion, there's nothing false about it. It is pure, raw, unadulterated emotion. And like, that release, especially after going through such a bad time. And I think that's why it's important as well to stick by players when they are going through tough times, because, at the end of the day, they're human. They know when they're not playing well. Don't be mistaken. Players know when they're not playing well. Players know when the results are going bad. And the last thing they need is people to get on the backs. I think you've got to. I'm saying that, there's been times with the Everton men's team in particular where our fans have been absolutely disgusted with some of the performances and things, but I just don't. You can doubt quality, but you can't. As long as someone shows me commitment and someone wants to give everything for the badge, I'll back them straight up. I'll back them till the end. You fight for my badge and I'll fight for you. It's that type of mentality.
Yeah, and then just one player I want to talk about because I've seen it and I put it up, and Jade Riviere as fullback, and I think she came in versus Paris. She was played out of position, and I think people sort of said, "Oh, she's not on her," and of course she's not on her. Honor Bache is the best fullback in the world for me. But Jade, she is getting better and better. This is her second start. Paris was her first start. Obviously she came on after Gabby's injury. God bless Gabby. But she's impressing people. For me, I know that she didn't. Oh no, she did get voted supporters man of the player of the match, man of the match, winner of the match. She was very good in our assessments. Obviously, just as an Evertonian, you was watching her. What did you think? Obviously, like I said, it's not on her, like you're saying, but she's a young, and this is her first professional team. So I suppose, as an opposition, what did you think of Jade Riviere? I know I'm asking about our players, but just I suppose.
No. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't know too much about her before we played against you. I'd obviously seen her against PSG, and I know that United have had a bit of a reshuffle, if you like, in terms of that squad. So there was a few new players who I hadn't seen in person before, but Jade certainly impressed me, and especially considering the areas that we would have wanted to get at United, certainly on, from wide areas, they would be the areas that we will look to try and exploit. And especially bear in mind, like you say, with Gabby missing, got to say a shout out to Gabby as well. By the way, I'm devastated for her. I'm absolutely devastated for her. Gabby was an incredible servant for Everton Football Club, and she's so well loved and liked at Everton by everyone, every supporter, all the supporters club. Although we were obviously disappointed to see her go. When it was Manchester United, we knew that we always knew that one day United would come in for it and that she'd go. So just sorry to digress a little bit, but just talk about Gabby George for a second. I've got so much time for Gabby as a person, as a player. I think she's fantastic. So wish her the best of luck with her injury, and she'll be back stronger and better than ever, because that's the type of mentality she has. That's the type of person she is. But yeah, move on to Jade. It's huge shoes to fill. It's a lot of pressure, but to come in and take that pressure, and like you said as well, Walton Hall Park is probably not one of the easiest grounds to go to. You're right on top of the players. It's there is pressure, and even if your team's running away with it, and you're getting a great result in terms of the actual conditions at Walton Hall Park, in terms of the atmosphere and everything else, it is a good test for her, and she'll only get bigger and better. And like you say, with Ona Batcher leaving as well, what a fantastic player she is. And what a great servant she was for United. Yeah. I think anyone coming in to replace her is going to find it tough, but if you've got the right attitude, you've got every chance.
Yeah, I think it's like the same, isn't it? With Gabby going, United coming, it's the same with Honor and Barca, and obviously, we would have both wanted, you wanted Gabby to stay out and Honor to stay, but when your home comes calling, I suppose that's what happens. But yeah, I just want to touch on something with Everton, and it's up, and I'm going to go back to it. Sport him up, sport face. And I think we both know what the answer is, Pete, but because I've seen a few comments about it. So Brosnan got the nod over Rambo, but we have seen that Rambo is injured, and just want I suppose, touch on it. What do you think of both? Do you think it's going to be healthy competition? Obviously, I know there is a little slight injury potentially with Rambo, but when she comes back, do you think there's going to be that competition? You know, what do you think? Because we've got 2 goalkeepers that are quite good as well. So
well, Brian Sorensen seems to have he has the mentality of he likes to swap and change. He likes to rotate the goalkeeper. He doesn't necessarily have a certified, guaranteed #1 goalkeeper. Having said that, we started the season with Emily Ramsey in goal. It was the Leicester game actually where I think she picked up that knock, which is why she's had to be withdrawn from the under-23s for England. And I think that was why she didn't play at the weekend. It was more to do with that injury, to be honest with you. And the week before, because against Leicester, it was one of those things. Again, we were playing it out from the back, and the Leicester forward line were bang onto it, and she just seemed to catch her foot in the floor and took it just sort of twisted. I don't know whether it's an ankle injury or a foot injury, but she certainly wasn't happy for the rest of that game. And then she's been rested for the last couple. So I think the decision would have been easier because of that, if you know what I mean. But I think if Emily was fully fit, I think I fully would have expected her to play at the weekend, because I know how much, again, talking about players who where teams mean a lot to players, I think United would have been a game that she would have looked forward to in particular. I've got a lot of respect for Courtney Brosnan as well, great goalkeeper. But for me, long term, Emily Ramsey is a fantastic goalkeeper, and I'd like to see her nail down that starting berth, and certainly from now till the end of the season.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Rambo is one that I was devastated to see her go. For me, yeah, I do think that she is kind of that quality keeper, and I would have liked to seen her stay and push Mary, but obviously we have got Fallon now in, and she's going to do that. I know Saf's coming through really good, so I expect to see more of that. I mean, I'm going to touch on one last Everton thing. It's not an insult, and I don't need to take it as this, Pete, or anyone watching. Jeremy saying, Brian Sorensen, good manager. Evan just needs to strengthen defensively. They look vulnerable. I don't think he means it as an insult, but I just think he means...
No, honest, yeah.
Towards the end, I know I've seen a lot of other people saying we ended up taking advantage, and I think we scored our first goal, but then I think you did have your chances, didn't you? And then we sort of came back into it. And then I think once you went 2, like you said, it was just sort of, that's it, floodgates for us, and then the 4 more came kind of. So what do you think? I suppose I do think he is a good manager. He's a really nice bloke. He seems to know what he's doing. But I have seen other comments from other podcasts, people saying Everton, and like you said it before about the whole playing it out from the back, and I've heard pundits being really critical of it, probably overcritical in my opinion. So obviously when people say about your defence, yeah, you did lose Gabby late, but what do you think? I know you said you are backing Brian, but when you do hear people critical of it, what's your take, I suppose?
Well, I think it's not making excuses, but I think certainly, the loss of Gabby, Rika Savecki as well, in particular, 2 huge players for us, 2 really experienced, defenders for us as well. I think that was a huge blow to the squad. It's probably an area we didn't really go out and strengthen in the summer. One of the reasons for that would have been obviously because Gabby left so late, but also we've got a couple of players in very crucial areas who are out at the moment. So in that left wing back role, or sort of left, because the way he plays it, he has Katrine Vieira as almost like a left centre half, and then he has a left wing back, and they kind of interchange throughout the game. So Vieira will sort of bring the ball out, and then the left wing back might drop in and stuff like that. He likes to interchange them anyway. But Sarah Holmgaard and Elise Stenovic are both out at the same time, and they're both in that position. And for me, that has been a massive problem for us, because we've had to play Claire Wheeler there for the last couple of games. She came on after a couple of minutes in the derby because Lucy Hope got injured playing in that position. And Claire Wheeler, she's got all of the tenacity and all of the commitments in the world, and she will give 110% every time she gets on the pitch, but she's not a left wing back. She's a central midfielder. She's a defensive central midfielder, a very good one, by the way. But clearly she's not going to be able to offer you the same attacking intent going forward. She's not going to be able to offer you the overlap. She's not going to be able to take the pressure off the back line as much as having an out-and-out wing-back will, and what Gabby used to do so well. So I think that's an area where we've probably suffered a lot. Up until the weekend, our defence had been reasonably okay. First 15 minutes in the opening game against Brighton, we were shaky, but I think the whole team sort of seemed to be half asleep. But we came back into the game and dominated. Leicester, don't know how we lost that game, should have battered them. We had missed a penalty, had a goal disallowed at the post and all that sort of thing. Just one of those games, it wouldn't go in for us. The derby, defended brilliantly. And then it was last weekend was the only time we've really looked very vulnerable at the back. So we've got to be patient as supporters. As I say, Brian has a set style of play. And, it's up to us to have faith in him and in the players to get it right at the end of the day. It's frustrating when you're seeing your team getting beat, but if you've got a manager who's got a clear idea and a clear mentality, and some managers like to sort of hide behind buzzwords and sort of, they don't really give a straight answer. You can speak to Brian and he'll tell you straight. You can literally approach him and he'll talk to you and he'll explain his philosophy. And it's weird. I was very against this playing out from the back at the start of last season. I was thinking, what are we watching here? We keep giving the ball away. It's not, but you do see it getting better and better. And I had a chat with him for about 15 minutes, and within 2 minutes, he convinced me it was the right way to go, because his mentality and you can see that eventually this will click. Whether that means that we have to change some personnel at some point, maybe. But I think the talent in that squad to get this right, and I think the talent is there with the coaching staff as well to get it right. It's just a case of keeping patient, and that's what we have to do as Evertonians.
I suppose I just want to touch on one little thing that as well I've heard, and I hope you don't mind me, Pete, coming at you like this, but do you think the club will back them enough to get the talent in?
Well, I think at the moment, because we're in such a transitional period in terms of the ownership, obviously we lost our chairman, Bill Kenwright, sadly passed away yesterday. So that's another sort of blow, if you like, in terms of the leadership of the club. So we are in limbo at the moment. Our owner, Farhad Mashiri, is looking to sell his majority share in the club after a lot of fan unrest as well. So, we'll have to see what happens. The new owners who are rumoured to be coming in or who have had a bid accepted have to pass all of the regulations and things, and I've not heard too many great things about them. So we'll have to see what happens with them. But certainly, as a supporters club, I'm with the Everton Women Official Supporters Club, and we've actually got a place on the fan advisory board. I'm not sure, do United have a fan advisory board now? I think it's like a league-wide thing, and so we'll certainly be pushing as hard as we can, from that position to get our point across that this manager needs backing. The other thing as well, which we touched on before about Walton Hall Park. The initial plans for Walton Hall Park were to expand and to have at least 2 more stands, so one behind one of the goals and one either side of the dugout. So it would have brought it all in. I think the other goal you can't build there because of some kind of planning regulations because of where it is, but the rest of it can actually have stands. So that's something else we'll be chasing up and we'll be asking for as well, because clearly we need to improve. We need to invest properly into the women's team. We need to make sure that the players and the managers are backed, and we need to continue to grow, because we've seen the growth in the league over the last couple of years in particular. And if Everton don't, pull the finger out and start investing properly now, the way Manchester United have started doing as well, which is great to see. We don't want to be left behind again, because that's what happened to us in the Premier League, and we don't want it to happen in the WSL as well.
Yeah, Sporty is just saying, we get you, we stand with you. I'm not even going to go into it with Man United.
Blazers out.
Yeah, that's all we can say. Thank you. I just want to touch on one last thing, then we'll go on to our next point. And I know everyone can see it running across the bottom. Paul said, can Mark Skinner ignore Irene after that cameo? World class. And then to Amber, Phil, I hope I said your name. Irene, again, loved it. I mean, I just want to say I thought she was quality when she come on. I've watched it like 100 times. That little one touch, Millie throws it, Rachel headers it. Irene chips it up straight onto Nikita, bang, 5-0. And it was great. I think we all loved it. That's, I suppose, a lot of people are hearing things about United and Mark and not being happy with Mark Skinner, but I think it is, and I think a lot of people are mentioning it now. He has his one set team, and I think it's okay maybe last year, but I think we've got a squad now, and we want to see his squad, players that he likes. I'm not going to go into all the players that left, but there's a lot of people that think a lot of players maybe weren't treated the best when they were leaving, or we've heard comments. Martha Thomas now scoring a hat-trick. She made comments about people believing in her. What did you think of Irene? And I suppose Man United, like you're saying, Sorensen says his thing. He's not going to deviate from that. But rotation is sort of needed, because otherwise you run people into the ground and, injuries happen, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
I suppose, Pete, your view on Irene and I suppose playing different players and rotating in and out.
Well, I thought Irene looked class, absolute top class. Player with, like you say, a first touch and fantastic vision. Someone who I think will be a crucial player for Manchester United going forward. Obviously, she needs to settle in. But she didn't look like she needed to settle in when when she came on the other day. That she certainly didn't look like a player who's new coming in. But I look at United's squad, and do you think it was kind of a bit of a blessing in disguise in a sense? Because we were all talking about like Leah Galton, and she's going to tear us apart like she always does. But then I heard this thing about there was a sickness bug going around the United squad, and I thought, oh no, here we go. Like, what are we going to be playing up against here? But sometimes even like a thing like that might actually be a blessing in disguise. Hopefully everyone gets well soon, by the way. I'm not saying, I want everyone to get well soon. But in terms of being forced into those changes, sometimes a manager can stumble across a certain way of playing, a certain player who in a certain position that just works. And maybe that was a good wake-up call for Mark Skinner. If you're looking at, you want the squad to be rotated more, certainly as the games come thick and fast. With all the internationals that go on as well, which annoy me. You have to use your squad, and you've got to keep them fresh as well. So maybe it might even just plant the idea in his head that the likes of Irene will be getting more minutes. He won't just be rigid with his formations or his selections, and maybe going forward it might actually work out well for United. So I think there was so many glimpses of quality from the players coming in, players I've known for years, like Nikita Paris, who always scores against us. I think she scored 8 in 9 games against us or something, Nikita Paris. But yeah.
I think I saw the stat. I think like she scored more against Everton and Liverpool than any other team.
Yeah,
this is, like across loads of different teams. So
typical, isn't it? I don't know if you noticed as well, when she scored, it was your 5th, and we actually stopped singing because she went down injured, didn't she? Was that the one where she went down and Courtney came out, and it was a great finish as well, lovely little finish.
I've watched that back, and everyone's laughing over it. We think Lucia stood on her ankle, then she jolted back, then Lucia ended up pushing back onto Millie's foot, and then everyone was injured after that. So I think everyone's laughing.
We stopped singing as well because we weren't sure. When you see something like that, I was thinking, oh, what's happened? And when she stayed down, because obviously she used to play for us, so we always like to sort of give our players a good welcome. Do you know what I mean? So it was a weird kind of thing, because when she got back up, we clapped her, but then it was like she's just scored against us. But you'd have to, you know what I mean? We still wanted to show that respect for her, and she went off. So it was one of those. It was a weird sort of moment, really. But I was just glad that she was all right, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
someone's here saying she got cramped too, so there you go.
Sometimes it takes a little wobble, doesn't it, on your toes, and then your calf goes.
I think she was all right by the end anyway. People are just saying, oh, Sporty's got a question for you, hope you don't mind. Where would you like Everton to strengthen in January?
I think as we've sort of discussed, I think at centre half, I think we need more cover there. I think it's crucial that we get more cover. We need Stenovic and Sarah Holmgard to get fully fit. If those two are fully fit, that saves us a headache, because we don't need to get more cover at left wing back. But if both of them are going to be struggling at the same time, then I think that possibly might be an area, even for a loan, that we could look to get. One of the other things as well, we do have. I hate to sound like I'm making excuses here. I really hate it, because the squad should be good enough, and the players are good enough. But the likes of Karen Holmgard missing as well. She's such a massive player for us, and someone who's so crucial to how we like to play. and she's been a huge loss for us. Lucy Hope being out as well. I think the main priority for us has got to get these players back fully fit, and then go from there and see where we're at. Because, you know, I'm talking about defenders now, but, you know, with 1 or 2 injuries, we might be looking to get a centre forward. It's a bit of a tough one, to be honest. Martina Piemonte coming back on the other day, by the way, she was initially expected to be out for like 6 to 8 weeks, and she came back in 3. She's an absolute machine, so I can't wait to see her getting up and running properly, because I think she'll get us goals, and I think she'll be a real handful once she gets going.
Yeah, that's what we love to see. I mean, I was going to touch on one thing to do that, but then I want to go from one thing to just say that different types of players. So you're talking about Piemonte, who's coming from Italy, but I just want to talk about Mallard, who's come in and in the squad.
Fantastic! What a player!
Obviously, Jace, we've seen what she can do. She got an assist at Paris. I don't think she got an assist, but she was like tearing them apart when she came on in the second half.
She was my player of the match for that Paris game. Jace, yeah, she's brilliant.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on, we've seen Arsenal make a statement, and obviously I'll ask you, Peter, because it's the same with Everton, an all-white squad. You know, there's not many people of colour, not just because obviously we've got Hinata Miyazawa, who's done so well as well for us. I think she was great. I think I read something that she had the 3rd highest in the whole game, 3rd highest interceptions or something. So she's done really well. A lot of these players have done really well. For me, it really matters. I really love it. You know, we talked about them all, really, haven't we? Mallard scored, Jade, who was the other one? Nikita as well. So these are players having that difference. It matters, isn't it? And obviously, I know you would have had Gabby. She's come to us now. So it's not like you didn't have or you didn't want. And I'm not saying that Arsenal didn't have or didn't want, but you know, it upset me the other day. I got a message from people sort of just saying, it's just this, it's just that. And, you know, it's not Arsenal's fault. And no one's saying fault, but it matters, doesn't it? I mean, when United was signing these girls, I was like, wow, like we've gone from, we always had 1 or 2, but now I think our squad is like the 2nd highest in terms of the diversity quota. And it's not just buying them, because that's what I've seen a lot of buying. We can't just buy black players for black players' sake. No, it's not that. It's these are quality players, you know. We saw the World Cup, we've all seen it. I mean, we've heard about what happened in Jamaica and all in Nigeria, but these players, they were quarterfinalists, a lot of them. So, you know, you can't say, oh, the pool's small or whatever. For me, I think that's sort of making excuses and minimizing it. So I just want to hear from an Everton perspective, your views on diversity, I suppose, as a whole, and sort of, I won't say where the issues lies, because I know today I saw a quote, and Gabby said when she first came into Everton, she had Nikita to look up to. It's that person that you gravitate to, because, I mean, I suppose unless you've been in that situation where you walk in a room when you're the only person of colour, it's hard. It is hard. So just your take, Pete, and listen, guys, get in the comments what you think. Jeremy's
yeah, I mean, first of all, obviously, I mean, I'm fully aware as a white male, I have certain privileges, if you like, you know, that I have never had to go through that of walking in the room and like you say, feeling like you're on your own. I can't talk about how that feels or that experience. What I can talk about is my empathy or my way of, you know, my views on diversity and my views that people should be represented in all walks of life. And I think it's massively important. I talk about women's football as a whole a lot, and I talk about how I want young girls, young boys to have role models who look like them, people who they can look up to and aspire to be like, who look like them. And I think that's really important. Positive role models throughout society in all walks of life. And I think football is a great way to do that, to get through to youngsters and to have those positive role models. And I think, as I say, I think it's a reflection on, first of all, you know, in terms of grassroots funding, things need to be done. People need to know that they are supported and that the infrastructure is there for young black girls and people of colour to be able to go you know, to learn how to play football, to go and play football and do what they love doing. But as I say, first they've got to have role models, and they've got to have people who are willing to make a stand and really want to fight for them and fight for that, and make sure that they are, you know, that things like funding is put into these areas. You talk about Arsenal, for example. You know, there's a large black community in the surrounding areas around Arsenal. Why isn't that being represented in their side? I wouldn't say it's necessarily the coach's fault or anything like that. I think it's more of I think it's probably, it probably says a lot more about society and about where the priorities lie, than it does about any individuals who are making the decisions. I think, as I say, the first things first, you've got to make sure that people are funded, that areas are funded properly, and that there's a proper pathway. And then hopefully, you know, as years go by, that number will increase exponentially, and the talented people, you know, young kids will come up through the academies, and then we'll see the results. But like you say, there's enough talent out there. There's no real excuse for it, because there is enough talent out there, whether it's to do with, you know, scouting, whether it's to do with, you know, I wouldn't say that there's that, you know, certainly not at Everton Football Club. There's no sort of culture of racism or anything like that. I certainly wouldn't think that Brian would be only picking players based on their colour. But certainly it's something that, I mean, even just seeing the impact that these players have had for Manchester United. You know, the players you just mentioned, like Jace. I watched her against PSG. Absolutely tore it up. She was brilliant. I was actually speaking about her the other day on another podcast, and you look at the talent, and you think, well, what is stopping teams from going out and signing these players? Is it to do with a lack of scouting? Is it to do with a lack of funding in terms of going out there and really, you know, going after these players? What is it? But something certainly needs to be addressed. It's something that needs to be addressed. But as I say, for me, it starts off at grassroots, and it has to work up from there. And it also it has to be that, you know, players, how do I put it? Players are put in a position where they can be an inspiration for these young kids, because it is so important. It's so important for a kid to have a role model who looks and talks and, you know, is like them. I think that's massively important. And as well, you know, in terms of the diversity of the fan base as well, it's good. You know, you see that diversity in the stands, so it's time we see it on the pitch.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, you know, I agree with what you're saying. I'm going to bring in Charlotte now, who's from Man City, and she went to the game, and, you know, we're going to talk about different things. But welcome, Charlotte.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hey, Charlotte, you okay?
Yeah, I was listening to it. I've just been playing football and listening to it on the way home. It's a great show so far, so it's been good.
Thanks. Listen, I just want to answer this one question. I would play Mellard up front and Jace on the wing. But in terms of, you're saying the impact they had, and, you know, I think it is this, Pete. I think it is the scouting. I mean, if I just look at someone like Hinata Miyazawa, apparently she was brought up to our, you know, decision making, but that's not someone you would have watched really without the World Cup, if you get what I mean. I know a lot of people were saying it's a panic buy, this and that, but it wasn't. And I mean, because I know that someone was talking about it before the World Cup or around that time, saying, you know, this is a really good player. Yeah, she might not have scored lots of goals, but I think it's the fact that people can't see it out there, out in, you know, different parts of Africa and the Mexico, kind of them regions, because people don't watch the football out there like they do in the men's game. They do, of course, they go and watch Santos, but, you know, that's what I think it is. I think it's the money to get these scouts to then see, because the world's a big place, and every club can have access to these
like
players.
You talk about the squad, but also, like you said, the scouts, you know, I bet, you know, are they all white? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, it's not just the girls on the pitch, it's who's in the back room. You know, have you got a full management team or a full team? You need to change that up, and that's how. Yeah,
I do think. I mean, Charlotte, what did you think of the Arsenal statement? Because, like, I don't know if you heard what I said before, but people have sort of challenged me when I'm challenging Arsenal, and I get it. Like, when it's your club sort of that's in the wrong, you do feel that I've got to protect my club, but it's sort of bigger than your club, isn't it? You know, because like you said, it's not just Arsenal.
It's like,
Everton. as
I
well.
think, like, how's it not been addressed before this photo came out? How does it take a photo to come out for people to be like, oh, wait, the full squad's white, the full management team, the full backroom staff are all white? Like, there's the problem. You know, why does it take a photo for people to realise that and shed light on it? It should be something that Arsenal are talking about during the, you know, transfer window, hiring staff. You know, let's open the, you know, when you job vacancies, you know, who you open these job vacancies to? Do you mean, you know, I don't know. I think,
yeah.
It starts, I mean, with the grassroots, for the players, but it also is in-house. Do you mean who you're hiring? Who's doing the interviews? Do you mean it's all more, you know, and I think there's a lot to it.
Yeah, no, I agree because I mean, I'm trying to think who's black. I know there's one Asian guy, so you know, but you know, I mean, you're right. It's about everyone.
And who's doing the interviews? Who's, you know, it's everything. Like, it's a bigger picture. The whole media, the whole everything is.
It is the media.
It's a bigger question. You can always go on about the players on the pitch, but it's more than just the players on the pitch and the grassroots girls and stuff. But
no, and you know what? This makes me happy that you two are I suppose it's not on my side, but you know, there's no excuses. And I mean, Jeremy saying at least they owned it. Yeah, they did, but this shouldn't just be, oh, they've owned it now, let's forget about it till next year, because that's what's going to happen, you know.
No, but was it like a few days until they put a response out?
Yeah.
Why? Why does it take so long to respond?
Yeah, this is when it comes out because it's Black History Month, so they've put.
Right.
And this is what
why does it take so long
these
to
these topics only come out when it's October, Black History Month.
Right.
You know, when people are looking at it a bit more in detail, like who's the black people we can talk about. Oh, there's no one, so let's, you know, that's when I feel like these topics are raised, when it is kind of something that's celebrating blackness. It's let's roll out a black person to talk about it, you know, whereas we need everyone to talk about it, everyone to be talking about it all the time. And, you know, it's not slagging people off. It's just saying, like, we want better. And, you know, it matters, not just that grassroots. I feel like that is very narrow just to say the grassroots, you know, I think, like you're saying, who's there? Who can people go to? I mean, a picture I've seen recently, I've seen Kiara sitting with LJ, and no, LJ's not really a senior player, but it's just someone there who you're similar to, and it matters. You know,
I think as well. I think that the other thing that frustrates me is when I see people trying to dismiss. For example, if someone tried to dismiss your opinion on this, Nath, that annoys me. Like so much, because I look at it and think, as I said before, I'm not in a position to understand how you feel. So if it's a problem for you, then that means it's a problem for me, because I'm going to back you. Do you know what I mean? I can't understand it I can't understand it fully. I can empathize with it. I can try and back you, but I'll never really understand it. So I don't think me or anyone else is in any position to tell you how you should feel. And I think it's up to the likes of myself, you know, Charlotte. We can help you get that message out, if you know what I mean, and try and back you and let you feel comfortable enough to talk about how it makes you feel, because how it makes you feel is what's important.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that I got a message in response to me putting out pictures of Jade, Paris, and Mallard celebrating, and I said, "Black girl magic, representation matters." And next minute, it was, "I'm a racist," because I'm supporting the black players. And I think, you know, like you said, it's a long way to go in society. That I'm getting a response like that. But yeah, it is annoying when someone in the media or high profile fans are challenging you when they can't understand, and when players are saying it matters to see someone who's like me. And I've heard Rachel Yankee talking about it's not just the grassroots and getting the young people there, it's about the cultural differences. And, you know, like you said, a lot of, you know, I'm not saying this about any dressing room, but, you know, if a dressing room is very tight and then you're a young black girl walking in and, you know, we've already got that kind of, maybe it's difficult to form friends, and then you got the extra thing on top, you know, really, well, that shouldn't be there. So it's just, you know, it's we need to talk about it. It's about culture and everything as well. It's not just, So it's not just a black issue. Like I said, person of colour, it's everyone. You want different kind of ethnicities in there, different kind of people that have experienced different things. So, I hope it's not just, November next week, let's forget about it. No, it should be continue to talk about it throughout the whole season. But yeah. The reason why, it's not just the reason why, I know that Charlotte said she was going to come on anyway, and I know she would have wanted to talk about it. But you were very passionate about it, Pete, and I've seen more stuff coming out today where players have talked about it. But after the match, everyone was so happy. We've won 5-0. We're walking out. We're singing. We're doing this. We're bumping into players. We're having the time of our lives. Maybe not Pete, but yeah, Man United fans are.
I bumped into you and gave you a hug, didn't I?
Yeah.
Through gritted teeth, I was like, well done.
So we are having a good time. And then I've seen 2 or 3 4 comments coming out. And I think Mary's the one that's really highlighted it. But I saw it anyway before that, criticising her because she didn't sign for my kid. And I think we've had these chats time and time again. And it's just getting beyond the joke. I think, people are coming now because it's, concert. It's not a concert. We won 5-0. You should be happy. I can't understand. I was thinking about, God, if my mum took me to a game and I started crying, she'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why? I'm not taking you again. You've embarrassed me. Yeah. Especially if we won. And I started crying.
I still cry when I win, so it's all right.
Pete, you were really passionate about it because you highlighted the first comments to me. And I'll get onto Charlotte. So just your take, I suppose, when you saw that first comment and then you sent it to me. And then I suppose when then Mary obviously must have seen comments, and since players have talked about it and more fans have talked about it, and it's
Well, I think first of all, we just been slapped 5-0. We've just been beaten 5-0. We're obviously devastated, but then we go online and there's someone having a go at Mary Earps for not signing autographs, or basically insinuating that Mary didn't care about her fans, that she walked straight off the pitch. Now, I was in the back of our stand. I sat down and waited because there was that many United fans behind the goal. I had to wait for them all to leave to go and get our flags. We've got a load of flags that we put up behind the goal. So I saw Mary Earps and I saw how many people she went round and spoke to, how many autographs she signed, how many photos she got took. I know how long I waited just for those fans to move along once the stewards had finally asked them to move. And to go online and see that, and the suggestion that Mary Earps didn't care about her fans, and then to throw in a story about this, about the daughter being really upset and crying, and how Mary Earps had made this person's daughter cry. I don't want to see kids upset. That's the last thing in the world. Don't want to see kids upset. But step one, you've got to manage expectations of any kid you take to the football. Any kid who goes to the football should be going there to go and see the team, to support the team. I have this thing that I always say: supporters are there to support, and the players are there to give their all for 90 minutes. And that's where it ends. That's it. There's no more entitlement. I'm entitled to want my players to give their all for my badge, and that's all I can expect. Now, if after the game, some players may go round and give autographs and take photos and things like that, that should never be expected. That should never be demanded. That should be up to the player. Now, if the player's giving you their time, you should be grateful for it. If the player can't get round to you because there's 1,000 people asking for a photo, then better luck next time. It's just one of those things. You've got to manage kids' expectations and not tell them, let's go to the game. And if you go, you'll meet the players, because that mentality needs to go. And I've also got this thing about these begging signs. These signs saying, can I have your shirt? Can I have your boots? Can I have your gloves? I'll tell you now, a lot of these players don't get more than 2 shirts a season for each kit. A lot of these players don't get that. And if you've got a little kid who's holding up a sign asking for that shirt, you don't understand the position you're putting that player in. Genuinely. I personally think, again, it falls into the culture of, I'm expecting something for being here. And I just don't think that that's the right mentality to have. It's not the right mentality to encourage. I think it should be discouraged. I think people need to have a bit of a reset with it and not just go into a game expecting something just for being there. It's enough to go and support your team. That should always be enough. As I say, if you're lucky enough, I mean lucky enough, to interact with anyone after the game, then count your lucky stars and don't expect it. That's my. But as I say, sorry, going back to Mary Earps, I thought it was disgusting. And he's not, even as an Evertonian, we all felt that we had to back it up because it was just wrong. And yeah, she didn't deserve it whatsoever because she's a top person. And I saw that the other day. She stayed for so long and took photos and everything with loads of fans. You know, proper role model, by the way.
I do. It is coming at a bit of a joke, and I think the minute I saw her post that and her say, I'm fed up, because I could hear her voice saying that, I tried to do so much, and even last season, Mary said to someone, if I don't do it, I'll get abuse. If I do it, I still get abused because I can't get everyone. Mary, she started where the bench was. Because my mate met her and got a picture, and everyone ended up getting. Mary went like this, wham, in her pocket. I don't know where the hell. I don't know if they got pocket, but went bang. Here's my Sharpie, and was just bum on bum. So, she's already prepared because she knows what she's going to be doing. Whether she leaves it in a bag on a bench, I don't know what she does, but she just whipped this pen out and started signing to everyone, and not just signing. Can I get a picture as well? Can I get this? Can I do that? Speaking about it, and I just thought, good for you. That's it. I'm out of here, kind of thing. Like, fair play. And by the time I'd spoken to a few more, she was walking around and we just shouted a little thing to her and she shouted back to them. It's just that banterness, that happiness. We was all walking out happy. Like you said, I lost half of my friends because I was talking to you because you were waiting for the flag because she was in the corner with signing everyone's things.
So if you put that into context as well, you've got to walk around from the other end of the stadium to come all the way down through a crowd of people. And I was still stood by that stand and she was on the far end.
And then we talked about half an hour and she was still doing it. Yeah. So that's a good hour that she was doing that. Like, she's always the last one out. There's times when I've seen them turn out the lights and she's still signing people to the end. I mean, you were at the Villa game, weren't you, Charlotte, last year? And that's literally what was happening. So there's times when I can drive home from LSV, which is half an hour away, and she's probably, and next minute I get home and people have gone, oh, I've just met. And I'm thinking, just met? I'm at home. So for me, it is that culture. It is, people, I'm just seeing people going, I remember Kate Lonkhurst talking to me after one of my favourite memories, if we lost interaction. I do think it is unsustainable, and I instantly put end it all. But I know that City have now done the autograph rally. I know you had it before, Charlotte, didn't you? And I know that today Esme Morgan's come out and talked about, well, you did the video, and I keep seeing it, Charlotte, popping up when they were all shouting. Because I don't go to England games anymore because of the way it is. I went to Stoke last year.
Oh God, yeah, that was crazy.
And it was just, I thought, I love running in. I love ducking and weaving, trying to get players and saying little things, but it's just too much. It was just fans running in and out, and these signs, like you're saying, and I just thought, I'm not coming back here because it's too much. And then I saw pictures of the Sunderland, and I'm hearing people shouting, get off the bus, and Esme Morgan's having to tell people, how can we get off the bus? When are we going to go home and sleep, It's just...
I didn't see that. I have to look at it after.
Yeah, it's in the Daily Mail if anyone wants to watch it, but that's what she said to Catherine today. But then obviously she talked about autograph rally. I know you've done it, Charlotte, and she talked about it being more calm, more peaceful. And I know when I go to championship games, that probably isn't as many people. It's still 1,000, but it's not as frantic. It's not as...
It's so chilled,
chilled. Yeah. And she says, I still want to see fans, but I want it to be this chilled way. So just talk to us, I suppose, about what City is doing. Do you think more clubs should do it? Just because I know you're passionate about this topic.
Yeah. So autograph alley is they've reintroduced it this season, and it's basically Man City staff will hand out wristbands, and if you get a wristband, you're told and promised you will meet one player. It could be 2, could be 3, could be 4, and you're not told which players it could be because, God forbid, anything could happen. Red cards, player of the match, media, interviews, all sorts. And then if you're given a wristband, I think there's around 37, 40 wristbands. All the mascots get one, so that's 11 gone. Hospitality gets some. So if you're given a wristband, you're told, the only thing I disagree with is you're told to meet at this place at the 85th minute of the game. Now, I don't want to be leaving my seat at the 85th minute of the game. That's the whole... But I am giving this feedback back to City, but I do understand because when we were there after final whistle, the players did come quick, and I don't want to tell the players like, oh, wait a bit, because we've got to get all the way around the stadium to then come to this meet and greet place. But my only criticism is, like, I don't want to leave at the 85th minute, and there was probably 3 of us over 18, and like I said, all the mascots get one, but then balance it out, not just the kids. You know, other people and other fans that have been going for years would love to come and chat. And then also, if you get this wristband, be grateful whoever you meet. If it's not a lioness, be grateful. Like, whoever it is, oh, I wish it was Chloe Kelly here. Really? Come on, like, you can meet Philip Randall down, anyone. Like, it's not just the lionesses. Like, and like you said, it's just all about the expectation. I mean, the kids are kids. It's whoever's bringing them, and the adults who should be saying, come in, we're going to watch a football game. If you see a player, oh my God, that's the best thing. But the best thing should be going to a football game. Like you said, seeing a great game of football, going home, having a program or whatever, and enjoying the day out. You know, it's cheaper than going to a cinema. A cinema's 20 quid now, but going to a WSL game, it's almost under £10, and it's a nice family day out. And yeah, I mean, I love seeing players. I love meeting players, and even me. I like you said, someone put a comment before about admin. They're posting these pictures of the players meeting, and it just encourages it. And even me, I'm like, I don't even want to post my pictures anymore. I mean, I love having pictures with players and stuff. But I'm like, if I post it, people see that and think that they can do it as well. And it's, you know, if it happens, it happens. If not, it doesn't. You know, I come here for the game. If I see a player after, and you know, it's not. Some kids don't even say thank you or please on these signs. Just can I have, and it's just, you know. And now I don't even want a picture. Like I said, I just want a conversation, just to say like, how are you? And even an autograph alley, I wanted to speak to Alex. I wanted to have a chat, but it was just too. The autograph alley obviously is good. You get your signature, maybe a selfie. I think it is the cutting down on the selfies. I'm not sure if it's just autographs, but I just want to chat. Really, I just don't want a picture. For me, I'm more than pictures now. I just want to ask how they are, how they're doing, and yeah. But I know it's not a chat. It is, you know, just an autograph alley. But I think it is a good idea. And they've said if you don't get a wristband, you will not meet a player. I mean, the away team might come over, or you know, if you see Alex Scott on the BBC, whatever. Like, but they're just saying, you will not meet a Manchester City women player. But at the same time, you know, if players come over, because a lot of the families sit with us, do you know what I mean? And they want to come over and say hi to the friend that's travelled, or hi to the mum that lives up north. Like, there's nothing stopping them. And I do think that players come over to fans more at away games and appreciate the away travelling fans. Like Ella Toone, like, she was there for ages as well. No one's talking about. I bet that kid met Ella Toone as well, but just didn't meet Mary. And it's like, whoever you meet, whether it's a lioness or not, you've got to be grateful. And, you know, these players as well at championships, they say, thank us for coming. It really is like, you know, if you don't meet Mary Epps, go to your local team, go to your championship, support the game. That's what you want to do, not support your Instagram selfies. But yeah, I think like someone mentioned about the media, that they need to stop posting this. You know, the Lionesses posted a video of someone getting a shirt. Don't like, I know it's a cute thing, but someone sees that, they think, oh,
yeah, that's what I think it has done, isn't it? You know, it's gone from one little lad holding a shirt, holding a sign, and he gets the shirt. So that's what makes everyone think, I'm going to get a shirt now. I mean, I know that Paris did give a shirt to someone at the end, but it wasn't a kid. It was just someone who I know and, you know, has come from far, far away. And, it, you know, she wanted to do it. You know, I want to do this for you because you've made this effort for me. You know, and that's what it should be. If a player wants to do something for someone, then they can do it. I mean, I just want to touch Pete. I went on Saturday to see Grace, and I spoke, and then she knew I was coming, and she came over to where I was, and we chatted for a bit, and it was nice. And like what Charlotte said, we just chatted. We didn't need a picture. I've had a picture of her, and you know, I've had pictures with groups of us. She's so nice, and I bet you're buzzing that she's in the England. I'm buzzing.
Oh, yeah.
England. So she's famous now, that's it. And she's like, no, but this is it, it's going to change. And even when I was there was kids, and Esme's talked about this, they just come with their pens or their phones and just don't even, like you say, don't even say please anymore. Just stick it in front of their face.
That's why Bunny said, if you want something, you have to ask please. And
you have to say please.
The kids were stunned by that, but Bunny had to say something, you know, to make these kids say please, you know, like...
Again, though, that says it all, doesn't it? About the attitude, you know, the attitude. And I don't mean to dig people out, but that's got us. The parents, the guardians have got to be the ones who set that example. I was brought up in a way where I say please and thank you. You know, if I wanted to get a photograph with someone, the first thing I'd say is, could I get a photo with you, please? And and that's the way it's always been. I remember going to Disneyland when I was a kid, going to see Mickey Mouse, and I asked him please to sign my little handbook, and I never asked him for his shoes. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't get this mentality of I'm going to get something, but again, you're talking about the coach before as well. What really struck me on that video was it wasn't just kids shouting. These are grown adults who were clearly had the kids with them, who were like encouraging them, and I look at it and think, and then it's the adults who go on social media afterwards and say, "Mom, my little girl was crying because of you." We had it with Izzy Christiansen last season, where a fan who'd gone, we've actually sorted him and his little girl tickets for a number of games last season, and he came online and slated Izzy Christiansen because she didn't stop going off at half time when we just conceded a goal to Tottenham just before half time. On her way off at half time, she couldn't stop to take a photo with this little girl. And this is the mentality of, well, because you didn't stop, I'm going to go online and make you feel bad. Izzy had a job to do. And you know the worst thing about that was, after the game, because Izzy had heard that she was upset from one of the stewards, Izzy gave her shirt from that game, her last ever game in a home shirt for Everton. She gave that shirt to the dad. And it still wasn't enough for him. He went online and slated her because obviously he wanted something else. I don't know what he wanted. I don't know whether he wanted, mascot or what. But I looked at that and we piled in because we said, "No, you're bang out of order. What are you doing?" And you can talk about kids getting upset. You can't. Sometimes kids will get upset, and it's sad to see. You don't want kids to get upset. Now, what you can't control sometimes is a child being upset. That's out of your control. What is under your control, though, is whether you pick up your phone at the end of the game and decide to attack a human being who's just finished, who's only trying to do their job, by the way. Their job's actually done by the time the full-time whistle goes. That's their job done. They are older than media and things like that. If they go to interact with fans, that's out of the goodness of their hearts. That's because they're a good human being. Even if they don't go and see the fans, doesn't mean that they're not a good human being or that they don't care. Do you know what I mean? There's absolutely no guarantee whatsoever that should be expected when you go to these games of anything but the players putting in a good performance.
Yeah. I mean, my friend here's put stop treating it like a child's day out. It is that kind of thing. It is that thing where people have come from the Euros because I think they did see that there is that kind of difference of togetherness. I mean, I was talking about the game that I went to yesterday, and that was the first time I've seen the whole squad actually walk all the way around the pitch. But at the women, it's standard. Whether we win, lose or draw, you will see them all walk around the pitch. And I think they more did it because it ended there. And but that's the connection I suppose we have is different. And someone saying when we were talking about the fan base and the banter, people are really upset over like little boos, but then. If they don't get a thing, everyone's crying, and I don't understand how people are crying because, like I said, if I had gone to a game and my mum has taken me, she would be like, "What are you crying for?" And I think, like you say, we need to realise, and I think social media, the way that the admins are promoting it, it's not just kids that watch women's football. It's not just about to me, you get inspired by seeing your team doing their best and giving their all and, hopefully coming home with 3 points. So the fact that we won 5-0 shouldn't, I don't understand. And it needs to change a bit, that I think. Listen, I don't know, Charlotte, I mean, you came in a bit late. I don't know if you've got any last words, I suppose, just about the entitlement, the thing or the game, I suppose, as a whole.
Yeah, it definitely needs to stop this entitlement. Like that video of them getting off the bus, that was at like 10:30 at night as well. Like again, it's just questioning these parents. I'm not a parent, but like maybe they should put something when you buy a ticket or when you get an email saying what to expect. Like it's not a meet and greet, come for the game. But yeah, I know you're wrapping up. But I don't know if you wanted to speak about Jamaica or break. But yeah, it came out on Saturday that the reggae girls have kind of gone on strike with and it was probably, I'm just talking about a Leicester game, City Leicester game quick, but it's probably the worst I've ever seen Bunny Shaw play. But at the same time, she's got all this going on while the girls are playing a WSL game. Like, I don't understand why this couldn't have come out on the Sunday, or I know the squad was announced on the Saturday, but you've got all the Jamaica girls playing on the Saturday, and this, you know, it was probably the worst game I've ever seen Bunny play, but she's probably gone back into the changing room. Her phone's probably blowing up, like, with what's going on. But I think it's just disgraceful. The girls haven't been paid, and they need to pay the Reggae girls. And yeah, for what historical World Cup, the fact they've not been paid, and now Jamaica are playing in Olympic qualifiers without the World Cup squad. Yeah, just thought I'd quickly mention that.
No, we did. We said, I think before, just when we were talking about diversity in the pool being so big, I briefly touched about it, but yeah, it's a disgrace. I saw Drew Spence and, was it Drew? Rebecca Spence and Drew. Yeah, I get them mixed up with Spence and Spencer. Yeah. But, you know, they were saying, you know, thank you for support. And I think it's good that people are supporting and believing the players. And, you know, it's the same with Nigeria. I've heard they're actually losing a couple of games because I think they sacked their coach, didn't pay him. Randy, he was actually one of the better coaches of the World Cup that I remember. Got a lot out of that Nigeria team, took England all the way, and, you know, he wanted to be paid, and then they ended up sacking him. So it's just, you know, I don't know what's going on. It's sad as well for me. I mean, we're talking about people of colour. You know, I'm from half Jamaican. Obviously, you know, I want to see African teams, you know, different teams doing well. You know, I want to see African teams doing well. I want to see Caribbean teams doing well. You know, South American teams doing well. Not just, say, the European and the USA. I like to see people from different...
Sorry.
Don't Colombia play USA tonight? Is it tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah. I think, coming up. So I like to see them.
I'd love to see them back at the USA. I really would.
Yeah, but it's sad. It is sad from that perspective. I want to see it. Jeremy saying this. It's sad. I can't understand how it's happening. Listen, I think it's like people are talking about seriousness in the women's game. We're talking about seriousness, about respecting them, like autographs and all this kind of thing, not just seeing it as a day out, but it's from the higher up, it's from the federation, it's from the clubs. The clubs need to do it. And here's, I suppose, Pete, what would you think about this? I don't know if you're not ringing, but it seems to work well. I'd like to see something done at United. We have a little thing called the Legends Bar. It'd be good if, you know, like you say, select, I think they can have 100 even, you know, select a good handful from each to the stand, put them in that gate room after, put about 5 players there, bang, bang, everyone's happy. And, you know, if you, like you said, if it's on the ticket, you're not going to meet anyone unless you get this thing from the Legends Bar. Put it on the seat. People who get it, bang, you know, something like that would be good, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know what you think, Pete. Would you want to see, and I did almost fall out my chair though.
My phone's going off. You're nearly falling off your chair.
Yeah. What would you like to see, Everton? I mean, I don't know what it's like at Everton. Obviously, it was like that when we were there, but is it, I mean, you know, would you want to see something like what Charlotte's saying with the autograph alley? Or
I think first and foremost, I think whatever makes the players feel comfortable. I think if for example, if you're Mary Earps and you've just spent over an hour of your time after you've played football going out and speaking to people, and then you go online and find some idiot calling you out, and basically, you know, some entitled idiot going online and slating you, I can't even imagine how demoralising that must be for her. So I think first and foremost, the players' own well-being's got to be considered. Now, if the players decide, if they make a decision that, I suppose there's 2 ways of looking at it, because one, you'd say, well, do you put that in the hands of the players, or do you just draw a line under it? Because it's a catch-22, isn't it? The players turn around and say, well, actually, no, we feel uncomfortable now. Then it's the players who get it in the neck, because people say, oh, the players think they're too big time for the fan. Do you know what I mean? I personally think that, one, the begging signs need to stop. I think people need to know. I think that they should be banned. If I want to take a flag into the game, I need to have a fire safety certificate. I need to make sure it's a quality flag. I've got to go through. I've got to let people. If I'm going on an away game, we have to phone ahead or email ahead to tell them what flags we're having. You can just walk in with a cardboard cookout thing.
God. That is such a good point.
Like, I have to jump through hoops just to get a little flag in, a 5 foot by 3 foot flag, but people can walk in with cardboard. And the idea is it's because it's flame retardant. I have to make sure it's flame retardant. I look at that and I just think that encourages this culture of I want and I will get. So I think, first of all, ban the signs. I genuinely believe that, and it sounds harsh, but do you know what? That's just the way I feel. I think that it's. I think that's the first and foremost. I think if, for example, at Walton Hall Park, we're okay at Walton Hall Park to an extent where we haven't really seen any incidents. Like, although having said that, we've seen that idiot online with Izzy. I would massively encourage people who have a gripe online publicly. I would ask them for the details and ban them for life. Personally, if you go online and slate a player and try and make a player feel terrible about your experience because you didn't get what you wanted, well, I'm sorry, don't come again. Simple as that's my solution for that one. But again, I'm not saying about like just kicking kids out, by the way, I mean the parents. But the other thing as well I'd like to see introduced is that even at Walton Hall Park, 15 minutes, timer starts, boom, 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the players will be asked to leave the pitch. Under no circumstances will any equipment be passed over by any players or any staff to any. In other words, you're not going to get a shirt, you're not going to get any boots, you're not going to get any shinies, nothing like that. Then that's gone. And if the players decide that they want to stay a little bit longer, that's up to the player. But I personally think there should be a time limit. What City are doing is because City's attendances are slightly bigger as well, because you've obviously got a bigger stadium. That's something else to consider. Well, no, Park, we're a small number. But yeah, that's what I'd firstly say. Ban signs, have a limit, ban people.
And I like what you said about banning people, because Natalie, we've seen people jump over or the kids run over to cars. Nothing's done.
Yeah.
You've got your security guard. Take it serious. Not grab hold of the kid. Take the kid to the parent. Can I take your details, please? Can I take your details? Can I have your support number? Why is nothing done about it? It's a crime. Do you know what I mean? Your kids ran over and pulled a car door and tried to get in the car. Why has nothing been seriously done about that? Kids are stopping the road. Like, it's considered a crime. Take the kid to the parent. I need your details, please. Get the supporters number. Like I said, ban them.
And I mean, someone did jump over a barrier, and if you did that at
it was filmed, wasn't it? Like,
you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be doing it. You wouldn't even get that far, and then you wouldn't be doing it. But instead, it's I'll walk you over to the car and you can get a signature. No. It's just encouraging it. People taking pictures, people celebrating it, and then, like you said, it's like you said, people do need to get banned, and they need to do it because they would do it in the men's game. What's the difference here? It's
the back of a police car if they did it at the men's.
Yeah, exactly. If they were running,
why is that same thing happen?
It's just it needs to. But I think what's happening, in my opinion, clubs are scared. Clubs are scared because they think,
oh, I know, yeah. Someone will film it, put it on Instagram.
Yeah. I mean,
my poor kid just wanted to meet Ella
and then now we're banned from watching. It's going to be. I think, it needs to be done, because I think the minute the first one get banned, people realise, oh God. And like what you said, Pete, that person who posted I don't even know. I think they just made a Twitter account just to do it that day. I've seen them since tag Man United and say your players this and that. So that's where, like you said, Man United should go in the DMs. Go on, then what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Bang, you never come in again. They've made Mary feel upset. It should be about the players, like you said, and hopefully now the England players are talking about it a lot more. Hopefully now,
because it does seem to be just the Lionesses.
Yeah,
all we want is the Lionesses, and it's just.
Yeah, there's more players than the Lionesses. God, Fallon was walking around, Saf was walking around, Jade was walking around. Look at Mallard. Mallard was walking around free with her family, and no one ran up to her, and she's bloody one. I'm expecting great things from her. So this is what I'm saying. It's a limit. This kind of ban. It is mainly Lionesses fans. I know a lot of people are saying it, but they're just happy. Just we've seen it with Lionesses. They're calling people. They don't even know. They're just coming for that kind of thing. And I think it is the culture nowadays. I'm not a kid now, so I don't know. But I know with all these Be Real, Instagram, Twitter, that's what it's all about. It's all about posting it to say, I got this, and going to school. And I get it. Kids are kids. They're going to do that stuff. But it's not, you know, it's different. We're old now. We don't understand it, but like, it's on the parents to say, because I know my mum would say, you can't do that, you can't do that. But you know, even my dad was a bit shocked at the way when he first came. He was like, "Oh, I didn't realise it was this. I didn't realise that the adults spoke to them as well." But yeah, they do, and it's, you know, yeah, the kids can get it. It's nice, but then when you start endangering people, I know Esme talked about Chloe Kelly, and then I know there was time someone opened Chloe Kelly's car door as they were driving off. It's just, when do these things stop, you know? And unfortunately, what I think is going to happen, Pete, is, I don't know if Charlotte's coming back on, I don't know, but we're going to wrap up. Someone's going to get hurt, and then what?
Yeah.
And then whose fault is it?
And that's the thing, and like you say as well, in terms of this thing about almost like blaming someone else as well, like this sort of thing, like, you know, someone did stop your kid from getting ran over by a car because he ran through the car park to go after the player. Well, you can guarantee the parents would be recording it and would be saying, "Oh, look what they did to my." And it's like, no, you've got to take responsibility for your child. At the end of the day, you've got to. If you're the responsible adult, I'm assuming, you know, kids' tickets can only get sold with an adult. They have to be with an adult to go to the games. So you're responsible for that kid from the second you step through the car park towards the ground until you get home. You're responsible for their actions. Now, you're responsible for how they feel. You're responsible for their expectations. So don't blame anyone else if they don't get their own way. Blame yourself. Blame yourself for not managing their expectations. People need to look at themselves and stop blaming other people. That's what needs to happen. But yeah, as I say, I personally love the atmospheres at women's football. I think it's fantastic. It would be a real shame if people who are coming into it now ruin it for everyone. Is what I'd say, because the camaraderie between the players and the fans has always been such a massive thing. You know, certainly for as long as I've been going for it. But you know, if you give people an inch, you take a mile. Unfortunately, we're seeing too much of that now.
Yeah, it's a shame, and I do agree with everything you say. In fact, welcome back, Charlotte. But obviously, guys, I'm going to end it because we've been going on for nearly an hour 20. But you know, I just want to say thank you.
Hey? Sorry about the phone, by the way. I'm really sorry about the phone. It was right next. I'm in my dad's at the moment, and the phone was right next to me. Jumped out my skin.
No worries. I woke a few people up who maybe weren't. So you definitely woke me up. So yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. Thanks for everyone for coming on. Charlotte, is there anywhere that people want to, you know, do you want to shout out your socials or anything?
Just my Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Yeah. See me at a game.
Yeah, definitely.
And Everton games as well every now and again.
Yeah.
Our adopted Soffies, the Man City fans who come and watch us, brilliant. Always welcome.
Yeah. Pete, anything you want to say? Anything you want to shout out, or you know, anything?
Just have a look on it. If you want to see me winding up Liverpool fans or generally that sort of thing, look me up on Twitter. Host the Blue Room UWCL podcast as well, so have a look for that. It's on it online, Spotify, Apple, and all that sort of thing. But yeah, mainly, if any Evertonians are watching, let's hope for better results coming soon.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks everyone who's watching. Drop a like on, and you know, see you soon. Take care.
Cheers, man. Bye.